back to Baxter County Roundtable. I believe this is episode 53. Tonight, my guest host, Chris Chamberlain, and I will chat with Brian Norris, our special guest. First, I want to thank couple of our sponsors. Baxter County Roundtable podcast is sponsored by Mountain Home Heat and Air, voted best in the Twin Lakes 2 years in a row, 2024 and 2025. They're the largest Goodman dealer in the Twin Lakes area. Mountain Home Heat and Air, together with Goodman, are two names you can trust. Goodman systems are made in America by Americans, and they also specialize in Daikin mini-split systems. From new installations to duct cleaning and everything in between, Mountain Home Heat and Air are the people to call for all your HVAC needs. They offer high-quality systems and workmanship, affordable prices, and financing is available. So give Kirk Lawrence and the folks at Mountain Home Heat and Air a call at 870-425-HVAC. That's 870-425-4822. We also want to thank James Boyette. Since becoming State Farm agent over 11 years ago, I've been focused on delivering real value to our customers. Value is about having the right coverage for each customer. Not about chasing the lowest price. It's making sure everyone who comes through our doors walks out knowing they're properly covered. Helping people find that confidence is what I do, what I love to do. The value in an insurance plan designed specifically for you and your needs cannot be overstated. That's what their team does every day. They start by letting you know, getting to know you, determining what policies fit your unique situation, and then crafting a package that meets your particular situation. They're focused on delivering quality service that's personalized to each person. And his office has achieved the highest State Farm and industry recognition in honor of our outstanding commitment to our customers. So, in other words, if you have insurance needs, contact James Boyette. And for auto, home owners, condo, renters, personal articles, business, life, health, even pets. 1330 Highway 62 East, Mountain Home, Arkansas. Phone 870-425-4540. And we also owe a debt of gratitude to Baxter County Republican Committee for really getting us the seed money and buying the hardware to get us started on this. So that being said, welcome Chris Chamberlain and welcome Brian Norris, who we have as our remote guest. So how are you, Brian?
Hey, doing well. Thanks for having me on again, guys. Appreciate y'all.
It's really good to have you on board today. You've been with us before. You, I believe, were running for Secretary of State. Is that what it was? And then you, in that primary election, you got the popular vote, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And then there was a runoff because you didn't get 51%.
Right.
So, and then you lost the runoff.
Lost the runoff by 918 votes.
Now, is that etched in stone today as we speak, or?
That's etched in stone. We did wanted to find out exactly, in a few counties, but not with the goal of changing the election after the runoff. It was the goal to highlight that we have all of these election laws in Arkansas, and you have the Heritage Foundation ranking us number one for election integrity, but laws are only as good as they're enforced. And we knew that they were not being enforced, and there was no consistency. There was no real guidance. There was no leadership from the Secretary of State's office in managing these elections and being prepared for them. There's a lot of issues. They didn't update the firmware. They didn't migrate to Windows 11 on the devices at all. So that meant that they didn't receive security patches. Nobody knew when it was going to come. There was just a lot of unknown, which from a leadership perspective, you can't have that. You got to communicate no matter what. But more importantly, there's counties.
You made them aware of this, I'm guessing.
I made them aware of that before the election.
Okay.
Once I found out that there was no migrating, because I'm a project manager for a large corporation, we were we recognize the security vulnerabilities of not updating to Windows 11 because of all the security issues that were found in Windows 10. And that's why Microsoft ended its life service support to Windows 10 and was forcing people to migrate over. So we as a company stopped everything to ensure that all of our devices got updated because it was deemed such a security. If you're involved in IT at all, sometimes these updates, you do a risk assessment and you're like, okay, the security threats are not that pertinent to this migration, so we can off put it and phase it in over time, right? But every so often, there's these ones that come across where you're like, we have to do this and we got to do it now, just because of the implications that it brings from the vulnerabilities. That was identified by my company. But yet the state of Arkansas didn't see the same threat and didn't take it appropriately, in my opinion. So that was a miss. And we don't even know if come the general election, if we're going to have machines that are updated to Windows 11. So that will then be machines that haven't received a security update for a year and a half, which is an issue. But more importantly than that, there's counties in Arkansas that cannot tell you for a fact with a provable record trail that the ballot dropped in a box in a precinct is the ballot that they counted at the county co-location, typically the county courthouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no chain of custody, there's no testimony on them, there's no sealing of the box as required by all of this is required by state law. But you had some counties that were just throwing ballots in cardboard boxes, putting tape over it with no signature on the tape. Is you just bought security tape from Amazon that said secure tape, like that means something. Same, right? Um, and the law is very particular on this. You have to have hardened cases that are sealed and numeralized, and there's a chain of custody with two people signing off on the origination of the box, and then two people signing off on the destination received and transferring custody over to them. Right? I mean, this is common practice, but yet these simple basic requirements were not being followed, and I think that's a service to the people of Arkansas. You should have full confidence and full transparency of the entire process from the moment you drop your ballot in a box to the moment it's put in a storage after the election is over.
Now, do you have any inclination as to whether they're working on resolving the Windows issue, or
None whatsoever. And if
I
based
mean,
on the
they're aware
track
of it.
record of the current, yeah, based on the track record of the current Secretary of State, he's just marking time until his next job, and he really doesn't care.
Hmm. Wow. So okay, let's just say that they address these issues that you just mentioned, um, and then do we still have election integrity once they, let's say, the ballots get to the courthouse, or whatever form they're taking? I don't know how they're voting anymore. Do they? We're worse than a third world country at this point.
Well, I mean, in Baxter County, we have USB thumb drives. They move from the precinct or from the voting center to the courthouse.
Right.
So I don't know what kind of checks and balance. I don't know what kind of chain of custody we have. I guess we should find out.
But I'm not as IT knowledgeable as you two are, but I do know a little bit about computers and chips that have a chip can have a program written on it that we can't see. Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, in theory, right? Or in what the company, what ESS sells, and they sell them very very expensively to local election commissions, is a thumb drive which is encrypted. So it comes from ESS. So it's got whatever it comes on it from ESS. I'm sure they're made in China. I
Yeah.
doubt they're made in America. I don't know if we even make USB in this country anymore. I doubt it.
Probably not.
Probably
Which
not. So
it's also a federal requirement that critical infrastructure cannot have components that's manufactured overseas. So we're not in compliance with federal statutes.
so these encrypted hard drives get moved from the voting center out of each machine. They come to to the main location, in this case the courthouse,
which is where they're tallied.
where they tally, and they stick that drive in, and I don't know how they decrypt it. I don't know if they got to use a password or if it just the ESS has a software package that's on that laptop, also from ESS, and it comes as a package deal. They can't go buy a laptop at Best Buy or from Dell directly. They have to get it from ESS. It comes programmed with its software. Presumably, it's decryption software also. So when they stick that drive in there, it just, I've watched them do it. It just kind of sucks it in.
So then that it tallies it. Does it tally it at the courthouse, or does it
Yes.
tally it at the courthouse,
Yes.
and then it goes over the internet to where?
ESS
Well,
headquarters.
That's a problem.
which the data servers are overseas for ES&S. I believe they were in Spain, and then it gets routed to the Secretary of State's office. But from a cybersecurity standpoint, right? If I was the Secretary of State, I would want to know who the individual is that's the courier that's transporting those USB sticks. I want to know that citizen or she. I want to know they've been vetted. They don't have a criminal background. And I want to know the chain of custody paperwork on every serialized thumb drive that's making its way across our state. We don't have that. We're solely relying on this one company that's not an Arkansas company to do all of these transactions that run our elections. So effectively, we have public elections that's being controlled and ran by a private company.
I mean, if it goes over the internet, isn't that automatically a problem? If that data,
Yeah, it can be, but there with that process, there is a trail, right? You still have the physical trail, you still have the metadata on the machine where it was counted at, so you can trace that back. So just because it went over the internet and it gets manipulated and changed is not necessarily, you can find that out relatively quickly. The problem with us being able to find that issue is we are not allowed, as the state of Arkansas, to do a forensic audit of these machines. So we would not necessarily be able to prove whether the numbers changed or not, other than the fact saying, hey, I'm Baxter County. I sent you 10,000 votes. They broke down this way per candidate. Is that what you see? And if they say that's exactly what I see that on. If they say, no, that's not what I got, I need to make a correction. You made a correction and you validated that from the source to the reporting is accurate, right? But we need to do a postmortem and find out, why did you have different numbers? And we don't have a way to do a postmortem because the machines are owned by a private company and we do not have a right to access the source information of those machines.
so do we get to see the tallies before they head out to Spain or wherever they're going?
Well, the counties do.
The counties do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Our
Yeah.
election
And they can
commission
send up
sees
a
them.
report. Yeah.
Well, I think paper ballots might be a good way to go.
How does that work out for
I-
Searcy County? Have we heard any?
100%.
I mean, I know they had some
They
problems. with the
achieved a
elect- with
100% score.
Very good.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't. How did they possibly manage to count the ballots? I'm told that that's not possible.
Well, it was very possible, and they did it very quick.
I mean, in
I find
Ethiopia
it very
or wherever
concerning.
they can do it.
Yeah, France.
France.
Well,
France can
so-
do it.
Some of our counties, it took them way too long to submit numbers. And the machines are supposed to be. Why is it taking them so long to transmit those numbers?
So those counties, what part of the state are they in? Are we talking about Pulaski? Are we talking about the Delta? Where are we talking about?
Which
Or is it
that's
just
the
a
funny
random?
part, right? It's random because our most populous county right now is Pulaski County, and they were very, very quick. They were very effective. But then Lonoke had some issues with their numbers, and I know they had a change of guard for the election. So there was, there was some reason potentially why they were having some issues. But then you have Saline County being the very late to turn in theirs on the runoff.
Well, that's down south. That's around Hope. Is that Hope?
No, Saline County is borders Pulaski. It's where Benton
Okay. All right, so
is
Benton.
and Bryant. Hmm.
Okay.
And Washington County was a little bit delayed in their reporting, I believe, and there was a few Delta counties that are very, very small, and they were very, very late.
Hmm.
It doesn't make sense to me if the computers are faster, if they're more accurate, and everyone's transporting their USB sticks. I mean, there shouldn't be that huge of a window discrepancy between all the counties, right? The polls open and
No.
close at the same time.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was
no,
their selling point on bringing all this stuff in,
even here in Baxter County, our furthest district south is
like Ash Flat
at,
down there.
no,
Or
no,
no, I mean Big Flat.
Big Flat, right? So they
Sorry.
got a long way to
Mhm.
drive. There's no easy route, but even so, we still managed to get our numbers in election night.
Yeah.
I mean, someone just
Well,
has to
I mean,
drive it.
look at the nation of France. 67 million people. They have an election. They hand count every one of them, and within 24 hours, you know who won the election. So it can be done either way. It's a leadership management problem. It's an enforcement and accountability problem. It's not necessarily the method. Now, I have a lot of bones with the machine voting. Everyone knows that already. And I learned some stuff while running that made me not like them anymore. Like, for example, when you come to another physical security requirement, did you know the same key that you guys have for your machines in Baxter County will work on a machine in Ashley County and
I did not know
Washington
that.
County and Pulaski County? That
That's
is
kind
what
of
I was
insane.
told.
Wow.
So they said the physical security aspect of it is not the key itself, it's the location in which they're stored at, and that room is secured with a unique key.
Okay.
Do, in Arkansas now, do they have a problem with the mail-in ballots as well, like you hear about in California?
No, we have a pretty good record with absentee ballot and mail-in voting. The majority of our absentee ballots are going to be military and overseas ballots, which they have their own mechanism for control and enforcement on those. So you can rely on those to
And we
be
But that's
to
because
be
we don't,
fair.
these states that have they send ballots out to everybody.
and they have
Yep.
drop boxes as
Right.
well. I don't
But,
think.
I've talked to people, there are people in Baxter County who've moved here from other states. They received ballots, right?
Yeah, still.
They now live here, have been out of those western states, those coastal states for 10 years, and they're still receiving ballots. Sometimes two or
Yep.
three.
Well,
It might be, John Doe, John F. Doe.
so they're
They might receive
experiencing
more than two.
they're experiencing more freedom.
More freedom. Yeah, they
More
get to
freedom.
vote
We get to
more
vote.
than once.
We get to vote twice.
It's kind of like a Republican convention. where
Oh
you
my
get
gosh. Yeah.
we're supposed
As
to be
long,
the party of election integrity. Were you at our last convention?
no, there was some shenanigans with my local county committee, and somehow my name didn't make it down to Little Rock.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised, but
Amazingly,
yeah, it was a bit of
I was there.
there's
I
some
actually
trouble.
had a hotel room because I was supposed to go, and so I went down there. I stayed the night, and it was that evening that I learned I was not a delegate,
Yeah. That's the third election
which is
that I've
awesome.
visited, that I've been to with the Republican committee or the Republican convention, where we have hard time getting. We have to elections are hard. Where we have an undervote, we have too many. We have too many people. Sometimes people have had multiple ballots. It's been very strange for the Party of Election Integrity not to be able
Well,
to conduct great elections at its
it's
conventions and its committee meetings.
it's a management leadership problem.
Well,
It- that-
maybe it's a problem that they were products of the education system, which
well,
needs
there
needs a
could be
little
that.
help.
There definitely could be that as well, but I don't
I mean,
know.
I'm not sure where it's.
I've managed way more complex things in military and civilian side. I don't understand how you can't get something like that, especially a state convention. I'm sorry. That's an easy day.
Oh, I think my sixth grade class can figure that out. I
Yeah.
mean, this isn't brain surgery counting.
No,
We
no.
started learning that, I think, in first grade. But
Let's move on to some other topics.
okay,
I'm gonna take over for a second.
okay, go ahead.
So I've been watching you post stuff on Facebook recently. So I would encourage everybody to go check out Brian's Facebook page. He's been posting some insightful stuff lately. Particularly, there are two things I thought were interesting. Number one, your observations about this war in Iran, like how you think it's going. Is the right move to just go on in and invade them like we did Iraq? Is that the best thing to do? And kind of related is this merger with our military with another sovereign nation's military. I know you commented on
Mhm.
that, and I didn't read that post, but that's also something that I think bothers a lot of people.
Well,
Yeah,
now
it
are you
bothers
talking
me
about
too.
with Israel?
With Israel, yeah.
With Israel and
Yeah.
Turkey too? Aren't they doing something?
We're going to sell them
Well,
some F-35s.
we're going to sell them some, which I like that we're doing that, and I'll explain that in a minute. For the war in Iran, simply put, it's unwinnable. Persia is the death ground of empires. And no matter how capable you think our military is, we have lost competence and capability. And that has been happening, and it's not Trump's fault in a long time, since the 80s probably. But geography and your opponent always has a vote, and that's what people don't understand. When you get into a fight, you everyone always thinks they're going to win, right? Until you get punched in the face and it hurts, right? They're a sovereign nation. They have a fully functional, fully capable military. It might not be toe to toe with ours, but they don't need to be to win. All they have to do is utilize their geography to their advantage, which it is. If you read the book called Prisoners of Geography, it will lay out for you that the most geographically protected nation on the planet is Iran. It's surrounded by granite mountains. And then you have about a 300-mile flat terrain pathway once you overtake those mountainous terrains in order to get to enemy infrastructure and seize the enemy objectives, right? So you're wide out open in the desert after you just cross mountainous terrain. And then you got to cross this flat, wide open area before you get to Tehran and these other major city sites, right? To achieve military objectives. It's a hard thing to do, but it's almost impossible to secure a beachhead in that country because you're right up against a mountainous environment the moment that you hit the beaches. So as soon as you try to land an amphibious force, you're looking at scaling cliffs, and these cliffs, these ranges, have had tunnels dug into them for 80 years or more that they know, they've funded, they have stocked, they have equipped, they have mapped out, and they are ready to take the fight to you. It's the same thing they did to us in the northern part of Afghanistan for 20 years when they were able to just hang out there and do what they needed to do until we left, and then they took back over, right? Plus, if you want to navigate and land a beachhead, the only pathway you have to do that is a direct open seaport, which they have elevated terrain to see you coming, coupled with radars. And then you're placing yourself in a situation where you get and the landmass, and now maybe you're surrounded and you're easily targeted that way. How many tunnels do they have underneath the sea, which they can launch underground drones that are mined and have huge magnets attracted on the front of them that just automatically go to the nearest heaviest metal object that it can find, right? I mean, every scenario that you can think of is stacked against us there. Now, is there a pathway for us to win and succeed there? Yes, but you got to have to be able to define success. No one has defined success yet. And more importantly, what is the cost that we are willing to pay as Americans to achieve success, with air quotes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are going to have to kill a lot of people. And then we are going to be okay with tens, if not hundreds of thousands of body bags coming back across that ocean with a flag draped over it. That's the cost. That's the reality of it. Then how much money are we willing to spend? When you break this out from a strategic aspect and you look at what the best military commentators are saying right now, and you listen to the Department of War and what they're saying right now, we have exhausted over 50% of our Tomahawk missile inventory. We have exhausted over 75% of our Patriot and THAAD missile capabilities. We have lost military bases in the Middle East because Iran has taken them over. not taken them over, but destroyed them and our ability to operate them. They have destroyed billion-dollar radars in that area that we can't replace, and we don't have the capability to replace them right now and build them. We are drastically low on our air platforms that have the capability to do what we would need to do in a conflict like that, and we don't have the manufacturing base to replenish those assets. I heard one commentator say that it is a minimum of 5 years before we can get back to the stock inventory we had pre-Iran for our Tomahawk missiles. Right now, when you're looking at all of this from a geopolitical standpoint, position. I can withhold the United States and outlast them. I can live in my cage. I can do what I need to do to survive, and I can beat them by death of a thousand cuts. Okay, but let's look away from Iran. Russia sees this as, well, they already lost the war in Iraq. They lost the war in Afghanistan. They lost the first iteration of the war in Iran because the MOU was nothing more than us admitting that we lost it and capitulated to their demands. I'm going to do whatever I want to in Ukraine, and you can't stop me. I'm no longer afraid of you. And then if you look at China, China is saying, well, this is very interesting. Perhaps I don't have to worry so much about the United States if I want Taiwan. And then we're faced with a situation. Are we going to defend our NATO allies in Russia? They probably the next 30 to 60 years produce for Ukraine, especially like Moscow,
Oh,
where
I
we
think
have
we've.
to.
Hold on just a second, Brian. You've cut out.
Okay, am I back?
You're sorta. We can. Yeah, that's
Sort of.
better.
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
So,
Well,
so, so last thing
then
we heard was maybe 30 to 60 days for something, but I don't know what you were saying.
yeah, if I was Russia and these countries like Poland, Germany, and France continue manufacturing weaponry that Ukraine is using to launch specifically at Moscow, I would attack those factories. Under the international laws of war, that is a confirmed military target, and are within their rights to strike it. That puts us in a position to where Article 5 gets invoked for NATO. So are we then going to continue fighting in Ukraine or continue fighting in Iran and then take on the fight in Eastern Europe? And then if China decides to seize an opportunity and take on Taiwan, are we going to honor that commitment that we made to them as well? How are we going to do that? I mean, sometimes your biggest strengths is acknowledging your weaknesses and what you can't do. We cannot do this. We just physically can't. And I know, look, I love America more than anybody else does, right? If not equal to. And I want to believe that we can do anything, and we can. But we have to come to reality with what we have available to us and what the eventuality outcome could be, and recognize that we we probably don't want to do this because it's not going to end well for us.
Okay. Okay. What was the point you were trying to make with Israel and?
All right. Well, there's, I guess, in the defense authorization coming up, what is it called? You can,
The Defense Act
that's the
NDA.
one.
that
The
were,
NDA.
yeah, the NDA.
Yeah, it's going to merge some parts of our military, as I understand it, with some parts of the Israeli military. Is that correct?
It's going to do more than that. It's going to it's going to mandatory weave us together. And the verbiage in there that concerned me the most is no duplication, which means that everything that we produce must be made available to Israel without duplication, meaning we can't create a different version of that product and then sell them to that's not top secret that we keep for ourselves. See, like the weapons, the F-35 transaction that's going to happen with Turkey, it's not going to be the exact same version that we keep for ourselves. We duplicate it and we give them a certain level of technology in it and we sell that to them. And that's based on the statement of work and the State Department doing the contracts and all that stuff too. But it's not going to be the exact same that we use. Non-duplicate of this agreement means that they get whole access to our entire inventory, everything. And then our own Senator Tom Cotton is running another piece of this. I believe it's 609 or something like that, that says the intelligence apparatus will be wholly intertwined with Mossad.
Hmm.
Now we have agreements right now with all Anglosphere speaking countries. It's called Five Eyes. And what Five Eyes says is, as an intelligence apparatus, we agree to share information that is pertinent to the Anglosphere in terms of recognizing threats and staying ahead of them and doing things like that, right? So, what that does is that allows Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the United Kingdom, and ourselves, who speak a common language, who have a common ancestry, who have a common cultural alignment, who have a common shared values, to link one another up of identifiable threats that could harm a shared ideology, a shared culture, a shared purpose, right? Um, what this is going to do is go beyond that agreement and directly weave them within our intelligence apparatus. That's concerning because in Iran, we completely destroyed a school, leveled it. Who knows how many children we killed? I think it was 130
190
something, maybe
schoolgirls.
190 schoolgoers, right? That intelligence came from Mossad. So if we're going to intertwine directly, what other information are they going to feed us that we're going to act upon, right? You got to go back to that shared values, that shared moral code, right? The Israelis typically believe in blood guilt
I mean, do you think
as
that was
a,
intentional on the Israelis' part, or
I,
I mean,
I wasn't in a
mistakes
room.
do happen,
Mistakes
right?
do
Mistakes
happen.
do
As I
happen.
understand it, though, those were the children of Republican Guard officers.
Yeah, I mean,
So, I mean,
I don't know.
so
I'm asking.
I
I
could
don't
be
know.
either way,
I don't know.
right? I don't know. No, I don't know if anybody knows.
Regardless, absolutely regardless, they're children. It was a
Well,
school. It was a known school.
You know, one thing Tucker Carlson likes to point out is that Western value is that innocent life should not be taken. Now, mistakes
No,
do happen; they always do in war. That's inevitable. But you don't purposefully target civilians and the innocents. I don't think
exactly.
Israel has that restriction. They do have a Bronze Age mentality,
I
but they
agree.
do not have they do not have a Christian mentality. They're not Christian. They cannot have a Christian mentality on how war ought to be conducted. They have
Hmm.
a biblical idea of how war should be conducted. Kill them all, like they've done in Gaza, right? I mean, just destroy everything like they're doing in southern Lebanon. That's just the
Well,
mentality they
didn't
have.
didn't their own Minister of Defense or Secretary of Defense publish a tweet where he said, "For every Israeli IDF soldier that dies, 1,000 of your civilians will die."
Yep.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Something to that effect.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it was him or another one said that all of Lebanon should burn.
yeah,
You know,
I'm just not
so
cool with that, man.
I mean, that's exactly right. There's, they are ethnically cleansing and cleansing, particularly Christians, out of southern Lebanon. There used to be a large, population of the oldest Christians
Yes,
in Lebanon. Um, they're
and
they're being
Albania.
just those villages, those churches. We've seen it with them mocking,
Yep,
going into churches, using them as latrine, all kinds
yep.
of other things. They do not
Wasn't there an
respect.
IDF soldier that was burning something like a crucifix or something like that, or doing something
Yep.
to it?
And they
Yeah,
take pictures. They're very proud of these moments. So they
yep,
take pictures documenting you know, their
yeah.
desecrations.
I haven't
I'm
seen
just,
that.
yeah, yeah. It's out there. If your viewers want to go and see it, they absolutely can. But
No.
let's look at it. Let's take the Bible aspect of it out, right? If an organization is that bad at handing you intelligence and you act on it and it delivers a result where you kill 190 children, why do you want to weave them into your
Hmm.
systems and
Uh,
processes?
I agree with that.
Now, does this have broad bipartisan support? Do you think it's going to pass?
No, it does.
Okay. Hmm. Okay.
I know it'll pass.
I mean, I don't know what to say about it.
Uh,
That doesn't sound like a great idea to me.
No, I don't like it.
no,
Um,
um, if you and you guys are learning this, there's certain moves that certain people take at certain times, and they would not take them if they knew that it wouldn't end in success.
mhm.
And this legislation is specifically written to where the president of the United States nor Congress can easily remove it once it's enacted. And now it makes sense why Benjamin Netanyahu has been going around saying, "I don't want military aid from America anymore. You money,
He just wants the whole thing. Okay.
you're saying."
Yes. Mm,
And that's another thing too. Like, people are our greatest ally. Show me the agreement where they signed up to be our ally.
mhm.
There is no agreement,
Do you think
and
President
that's by
Trump
design.
was misled by the Israeli intelligence on this whole operation?
Whoever was passing information to him was not being honest. I want to believe that,
Uh,
because I've read all the war games. I mean, everything I said in the beginning about Iran, the Pentagon has said for decades upon
Right.
decades. It's a known. It's a very challenging environment, and I don't think he was given the best advice. He
Yeah.
couldn't have been.
Well, there was a New York Times article which said that in the Situation Room, prior to this operation being commenced, you had Benjamin Netanyahu, you had the Mossad, via being beamed in via some sort of video conferencing. Um, and I just have to wonder if he was misled. That's what the people are saying, that they thought that it would be over quickly. They decapitated the regime. It would just collapse. The Kurds would rise up. All these things were supposed to happen, none of which happened.
Yeah,
Um, and I just wonder
yeah,
if President Trump really believed this was going to be just like Venezuela, with the 12 days war, where it just a quick operation, in, out, win real quick, like have a short victorious war, add that feather
yeah.
to his cap and move on. And I really don't know. Or did he honestly know this was going to happen? That this was, closing the Straits of Hormuz was a real possibility.
Well, all we have done is enable that regime and strengthen their power. Now they're going to be wealthier than they've ever been because the cost of oil has gone up. They are now instituting a tax in order to get through the strait. We're not back. We just don't have the case proven. So we're going to let it go. And then you have the other issue with the other strait where Yemen is to the south of the Strait of Hormuz. They're now seeing this. And so you have a fifth of the world's crude oil and natural gas that flows through the Strait of Hormuz. But then you have, what is it, 10 to 15% that flows through the other strait off the coast of Yemen? Well, why wouldn't they take advantage of it too? I mean, this is a recipe for success for these countries to copy and emulate, which is just going to increase the cost for us as the bottom line consumers at the end of the day. That's all it's going to do. So I don't know. You know, I think we learned though that our assumptions about how much the people of Iran really wanted to get rid of that regime was not accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Venezuela, once the dude was gone, nobody really cared. They were
Right.
great, right?
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
we killed the guy in Iran, and you saw mass protests in the street. You saw the willpower of the people get behind the military apparatus and support them and enable them. Soldiers are not going to continue fighting in that kind of environment and keep doing that type of stuff and putting their families at risk unless their families are enabling them to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the reality of this. To go and live in a cave off the coast of the Strait of Hormuz and spot vessels coming through month after month when my family is not responding appropriately, when they're not encouraging me, right? Because there comes a certain point as a soldier, speaking from experience, where you begin to question your motives and why you're there. You think, is it worth it? Is this the right thing to do, right? And then you get that letter from home. You get that letter from the school kid that just wrote a random soldier that happened to land on you that says, "Thank you so much for what you're doing and keeping us safe and keeping us free. And son, I love you. I'm so proud of you. I wish you weren't in war, but I pray for your safety every night. And we believe in you and we believe in what's happening." Right? That's the motivation that keeps you moving forward, along with the people to your left and right that you're there for. Right? But why on earth would they keep going? Because if you think that they're not struggling, they're struggling. There's a motivational factor there that has to be taken into account.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do we want to get back to local stuff or?
Got some local stuff.
Well, I don't know. I want to know what Brian has. Local,
All right, let's talk about let's talk about flock cameras for a minute. What are you abreast of that situation in the state of Arkansas?
A little bit.
I think what was it last year, 2004 maybe 2005? Mountain Home City signed a contract with to get these cameras, to get these flock cameras. And of course, it was all the stuff that they said. Well, it won't be, it'll be on a private cloud. It won't be on the internet. It won't be this. It won't be that. It won't be privacy. It'll be private. And it's just for safety. We just need it for safety.
Think of the children.
Think of the children.
Exactly.
All right. Well, now it's coming out. Article after article, police officers are using the system to hunt down people they don't like. They're using it to spy on people, right? There've been instances where, these flock cameras are tracking license plates. But I know from experience, I own cars. I don't own all drivers that drive my cars. All right, this was the problem with cameras that gave speeding tickets. The reason that those all went away 20 years ago, there's a big push 20 years ago. Every municipality, I was in Jackson, Mississippi. Well, the problem is they take a picture of your license plate and send you a ticket. Okay, I wasn't driving the car. Prove I was driving that car, right? On and on and on it goes. So we've seen that recently too, where somebody gets a ticket for doing something they weren't doing. How can you prove it? So obviously there are a lot of privacy concerns. Where does this end up in the state of Arkansas? What can we do about it?
Well, let's extrapolate that a little bit more. Why are they forcing automakers inside their vehicles? It's connected as well to the cloud and stored. Well, now you can prove who was driving, right? You can link that up. So you have total control. But on a bigger scale, why do we need so many data centers all of a sudden? And why is there such a huge push that seems to coincide with these cameras? Because they tell us it's for AI. Well, it's not for AI, because AI pretty much has all the data it needs to do the stuff it needs to do. And anything new in sciences and medical and all that stuff, that's going to get fed in and maintained, right? But the huge bulwark of human knowledge is already encapsulated for AI. And when you look at Google, who keeps a record of every Google account around the globe, they use a tenth of what they're proposing for these data centers in terms of storage, right? So you have to ask yourself, well, why would you need so many storage centers? Well, it's because all of these cameras are now being integrated, and all that data is going to be stored for how long, right? It's going to be stored as long as they want it to be stored for, so that they can search back through it in the event that they need to. It's not new data to train AI and make AI better. They don't need any more of that. It's to store all of our data from them tracking us around. I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything good can come of it for us.
I mean, if we really want to go down the rabbit hole, all this connects to Palantir somehow. And I'm not sure how, but I know there are people who believe it does.
I believe that 100%.
There are some people that speculate that Palantir was involved in this, and this is just a rumor, so I'm spreading rumors now, I admit it, but was involved in this attack on the girls' school in Iran. That somehow it was an AI decision.
Yep, it was. That's the selling point. And the selling point is AI that calculates decision. And which agency and which AI platform? I've heard Claude. I've heard Anthropic, which is Claude. It could be. We don't know that. But regardless, why are we completely handing over the decision to kill people to a machine without human intervention?
Mm-hmm. I think
and
there's
checking
a movie
the trail.
about this.
There is. And And
several perhaps.
why in Arkansas do you have random flock cameras in the middle of the country?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Well,
I
why?
mean,
because cow flatulence has become a problem, so you want to have that captured on film, don't you?
so
Well,
look, this is how they sold it. They said, look, these cameras are pointed into Mountain Home. So when someone drives into Mountain Home, it gets the license plate, but they're not
mhm,
pointed the other direction, right? At least
right.
that's what that was the selling point. As best I can tell, that's when you look at these. There's one on my way home. I see it every day. All right, so every time I go into town, I'm being tracked. They know I walked in. I drove into town. The
Mhm,
selling point was, well, if you commit a crime, now we can figure out all this information about you, and we can get you quicker. That was the
okay.
selling point. But in Mountain Home, how often does that scenario happen? And they always pull up. Well, there was this one time when this would
Okay.
have
Well,
saved a
If
life.
I could just save one child.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
that's like the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, right? We've pretty much solved drunk driving. I mean, it's your life is going to be ruined for a very long time if you get a DUI. But yet, they're still such an active organization, and their sole purpose is to push more,
Yeah.
more, and more, and more, right? To the point to where it's ineffective. Case in point, I had a soldier in Fort Campbell, Clarksville, Tennessee. He did everything that you would want a man to do that was drinking. He went to the bar, drank too much, recognized he drank too much, walked out to his car, climbed in the back seat, and fell asleep. Woke up to police knocking on the door, and they gave him a DUI because
Mm-hmm.
he had the ability to drive because the keys were in his possession. Now, he did everything on your key performance indicators would make you check success into your objective, which was to stop drunk driving. But yet you still gave him a ticket and it ruined that soldier's life. He got
Yeah.
kicked out of the army.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So I don't know
counterproductive
what.
now.
So I do believe. I do want to say I do believe that the good people of Mountain Home have nothing but good intentions. The problem is that those of us who are in technology and regard privacy as one of the utmost values can see
Yeah.
how this can be abused, right? If it's on the
Oh yeah,
cloud, even if it's in a private cloud, it doesn't take but a couple of settings change to make it available to whoever you want to make it to, right? It
and
really
when you
doesn't,
look at the
because it's on a
totality of
cloud with
everything,
other private clouds,
exactly,
right?
and all
And it
connected to
literally
that
an IP
cloud,
change, a password change, and suddenly that data can be shared with
and it will
other
be,
clouds,
it
and
will
it
be,
has been, and it's been proven that it
yeah,
has been.
and it's
So
going to be sold. But here's another thing too, right?
The road.
Like I enjoy nicotine, right? Um, if I purchase nicotine, they scan my ID card at a store. That gets recorded in a log somewhere. And then you have how many times I drove to that store being recorded. So now they got to have it. They can target me for advertising, right? Which is what they're saying, right? But they can also release that information to my insurance company and say, look, he said he was only having so much nicotine, when in reality, he's been going to that store this many times. This is how many cans he's purchased. This is how much he's done it. He lied to you. So he died. It was from him lying. You don't have to pay the insurance claim on it, right? Something that small. Or you're engaging in your Second Amendment right. And now they're scanning your ID card. You're filling out your paperwork. They got that on record. They got you on video transporting that weapon. And then you purchase a private weapon from someone else and they track you doing that. And they see a different weapon in the car seat somehow through your camera in your car or through a flock camera. And now they're like, hey, you didn't register that weapon with us. Where'd you buy it at? Who'd you buy it from? Right. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's all kinds of keys and things that could come up, and it could be problematic because maybe your father let you borrow a pistol that was your great grandfather's, and you're just going to take it out to the range and shoot it a little bit. So you didn't buy it, you didn't do anything wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they take it as that. Where's this end? I can see so many opportunities where this
Exactly.
just goes
And,
sideways. Or
and that's what those of us who fought. I didn't fight too hard. It was too many other things, irons in the fire. But there were a lot of people who did fight, who went to the city council meetings, who did speak up about this, and they just didn't care. They just don't care
yeah,
about privacy
nope,
because, and I don't know why. I imagine there's a flock salesman out there whose sole job is to go to little municipalities like Mountain Home and sell them this
absolutely.
system, right? And they sell them on all the benefits, and they probably have a whole playbook of how to
Yep.
handle angry citizens, and they just went right down that playbook, and they just did it
Absolutely.
anyway. Just the same way they do with data centers. We've seen this before
Yep.
with these data centers,
Rinse and repeat.
right? Rinse and repeat. That's
Well,
what really
we see it
concerns me
every
about
time.
issue 3. I'm going to move on just a little bit about issue 3. That's going to be on the ballot in November. Is how are they going to use that? How are little towns like this going to use that to push through things citizens don't want, like data centers, like windmills, like Bitcoin mining, like all those things that nobody wants that here in Baxter County.
Yeah.
But the city council will just flat ignore what the people want and do what they're going to do anyway. And I
Yeah.
think that's what happened with these flock cameras.
Well, that's happening on everything, right? Every metric. I mean, the overwhelming
Yeah.
majority of people want hand marked and hand counted paper ballots, yet nothing ever gets brought up. I mean, that's across the spectrum. But what I would like to see to counter the flock movement is every elected official that allowed these to come into their areas. Why don't we, as private citizens, just put a camera up that points directly at their front door of their house across the street and stream it on social media? And then
Yeah.
do the exact same thing to their offices so that we catch them coming in and out of their public workspaces every day. You know,
Well,
just do to them what they're doing to us.
well, since you
And
brought that up,
it's for your safety, councilman.
what
That's right.
I
I feel safer.
I'm curious then. You that's a great idea, and now we need to find a place for you to get back into government.
Well,
Do you have any ambitions as far as that goes, or
um, no, honestly, I don't right now, but I'll never close the door. But what I
it's
did
too
do
late to
is
run
afterwards,
against Cotton?
it is. And that would probably be a wasted effort with his war chest and everything they dig into. But what I did do is I started a consulting company, and I am making myself available with everything I learned. And I also developed some software. When I was, everyone started asking, "You're pretty much running this campaign by yourself with a few volunteers, like you guys up in Baxter County and some, across the state. But you're effectively managing this yourself as you're the candidate running and doing all this stuff. How'd you do it?" And well, I wrote some software that allows you to be more efficient, to be more targeted. I call it a campaign solution in a box. And so I'm making this tool available to select candidates that align with our values and our morals. And I'm going to see myself as a force multiplier. And maybe God's intention was not for me to be in office. Maybe it was for me to 20 to 30 other like-minded individuals get into office. And so that's what I'm running with right now. It's going very well. If anybody wants to look up any more information about what I do, you can go to the Meridian Group. It's .org, and it's got .com down there, but it's .org. And you can check us out if you have any questions. So if anybody's running for office down the road in your guys' area and they need some support and they align with us, keep us in mind.
Well, before I forget, is there any other contact info you want us to have?
Well,
For any
the
other-
only thing that I would like to throw out is while on the campaign trail, I met some amazing individuals, and some of those stood out more than others, like Russ Gillis up there, who's not with you guys tonight, right? Just a great person to know. Valerie Kiss out in Sebastian County, and some that I'm forgetting, will forget to mention right now because I want to talk about one. One of those individuals was Travis Barkley. He lives in the Delta near Clarion. And unfortunately, last week, a tree fell on his home that is a pre-Civil War home that he doesn't have the money to rebuild. And he's a man that would not ever reach out and ask for help, but I did. I started a GoFundMe for him. I didn't ask him for permission because I knew he would tell me no. So I would ask for forgiveness later. But this man has sacrificed so much of his time, his energy, and his effort to try to bring Clarion back to what it once was, right? He's invested his blood, sweat, and tears in that community. He has sacrificed his own treasure to try to make it better. He is our neighbor who is everything that we want our neighbors to be, and he's a neighbor in need right now. So if you can skip the coffee tomorrow and give just $3, $5, do it. I promise you, I will publish the record of the money being directly handed to him
How do people
for
do
that
this?
effort.
How do people?
There's a GoFundMe. It's called Travis Barkley. It's TravisBarkley, and you can go to my Facebook page, Brian Norris. You can see the link in there. I'll email it to you guys so that you guys can share it through your way. I don't. This is the first time I've ever done anything like that, but that man left such an impression on me, in the way that he was selflessly serving his community, that when I found this happened to him, do something and maybe get him a $1,000 or maybe a little bit more. But I had to do something just because of the nature of this human being.
We should take care of our own.
That's right.
I believe in that.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, we're getting to the end of our podcast. There's a whole bunch more to talk about, so we're gonna we're gonna cut this one off now, I think. But hopefully you'll come back. And I
Oh
just
yeah,
want to say,
anytime.
I just want to say thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
You're chock full of info that I haven't heard. That's kind of what I'm after.
That's
So-
kind of what happened when you don't sleep very much and you don't have a lot of hobbies beyond working out and reading.
Well, you're not a quitter, that's for sure. You're a go-getter. Thanks
We're
again
going to
for
achieve a pathway to success, and Conduit for Commerce 75, CSC 75, is going to be the vehicle that is going to fundamentally change politics in Arkansas. Get to know it, get involved with it, come on the team for the big win, because it's not going to happen from the Republican Party of Arkansas. It's going to happen from us.
Okay, and you can be found on Facebook, Brian Norris on
Yep,
Facebook.
with a Y.
Is that
Brian with a Y.
public? That's totally public.
It's public. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
I don't hide anything. Everything I do is fully public, transparent. I
Any
put no
place else
blocks
we
on
can
anything.
find you? Any other that you want us to know
Well, I
about?
would say that you could find me on X, but during the Secretary of State campaign, someone hacked that account. I'm still
great.
being charged for it, and I don't have access to it. My cell phone was hacked as well, and I had to get a new phone number. Emails were hacked and stuff as well. And it all happened in that last 2 weeks of the runoff, which is very suspicious to me, right? But I'm not saying they're connected. I'm just saying I experienced a serious cyber attack on me, and I lost access to my X. So that X account that's out there that's still working, that's not mine. Even though it's got my name on it and it's linked to the Secretary of State stuff, I have no control over it anymore. The Facebook is still mine, so you can reach out to me there. And of course, email at brian@themeridiangroup.org.
All right, Brian, thanks again. And Chris, thank you for joining us. And
Anytime.
and thanks to all for who joined us to watch this podcast.
Absolutely.
Couple announcements. Quorum Court, first Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. each month, County Courthouse. City Council meets first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. at City Hall. And Republican Men's Club meets the first Thursday, 11:30 a.m. at the Elks. City Planning Committee, second Monday, 1 p.m., City Hall. County Planning Committee, second Tuesday, 11 a.m., Baxter County Courthouse. A&P, Advertising and Promotion, third Thursday, 3 p.m., City Hall. School Board meets at the admin building, third Thursday, 6 p.m. on Rodeo Drive. Airport Advisory Committee doesn't really have a schedule, but they meet as needed, and I think every couple months. So I don't have anything specific there. And Baxter County Republican Committee meets last Tuesday each month at the VFW, 6 p.m. Thanks to